The OER Research Hub is a project that is funded by the Hewlett, William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, and we started back in September last year. So we've been going a year at the end of August, and our website gathers together the various sort of activities we've been doing. So the sort of things we're doing is working with a lot of other groups of people around the world, finding out what they're doing, building this in together with desk research, and focusing in on the hypotheses that we're trying to find out about what it is that really makes openness make a difference. So in this, we're acting as the research arm for the Hewlett Foundation. I won't go through all of these one by one, but behind the scenes is drivers of hypotheses. So we're trying to find answers to questions. So these are all sort of posed as particular positives that open education resources improve student performance or improve their satisfaction. It doesn't mean that we're committed to finding only positive answers, and I think one of the interesting things is the challenges that arrive and the images, and particularly what's been happening over the last year as MOOCs have come in and sort of changed what people have been trying to achieve with open educational resources.
So we've employed a collaborative approach to this project. So we're working in collaboration with 8 existing OER projects that are collaborations. 7 of those projects are based in the US and 1 is based in India. These collaborations, they span 4 education sectors: higher education, schools, community colleges, and informal learning. Following on from the collaboration program, we have a fellowships program, through which we're trying to provide some motivation and a space at the Open University for fellows to come and reflect and review their OER projects or previously conducted OER research, or even the research that they've conducted jointly with us. So we have 2 main categories of fellowships. We have the linked fellowships, where we have allocated a fellowship per collaboration. So we have confirmed 6 linked fellowships. They will be coming to visit us very soon. And we have another category of fellowships, and that's called the open fellowships. So this category, we opened it to we invited applicants from the wider OER community.
One of the main hypotheses that we have allocated to the flipped learning network is the reflection hypothesis. So the idea that the use of OER helps teachers become more reflective in their own practice. So that's some of the bits of information that we got from the questionnaire. Obviously, the next step now is to interview the teachers and find out, exploring in a bit more detail all of these bits and other bits.
There's a huge kind of issue with the cost of textbooks in the US. So OpenStax College are releasing free complete course books available online for no cost, and it costs about $15, I think, to print them. So this is a kind of ongoing project. It launched last spring. 5 to 6 books are currently available, and at the moment, kind of seeing already they've got 3% of the physics book market in the US, and they're aiming for 10% for all their books. So we're working with those guys to kind of find out a bit more about who's adopting this textbook. So they've currently got about 200 school adoptions, and they've saved people about $3 million in total, and they've had about 120,000 total downloads of the textbooks which are available. So
one of the aspects I've been looking at has been OpenLearn, the OU's own open educational resources repository. I've been working with Katrina Law, who is one of our OER Research Hub fellows, and we've been building up quite a powerful picture of the various ways in which the Open University is sharing OER via OpenLearn and also via the iTunes U and YouTube provision, and Katrina has been working with other people in IET to survey users of those platforms. So what we've got is now quite a powerful body of data around just how those platforms are being used, around the type of people who are using them, and around the impact, potentially, of open educational resources on both informal learners and also formal learners. We filtered the data to find people who are using open educational resources in the context of formal learning. And they're quite a substantial body of the users in our sample. We're also looking at the ways in which educators are using OER and within the context of Open Learn.
So, as I say, we've had interviews with key staff at Anna Rundale. They were involved in the British Success Project. I've got some surveys on the go at the moment, including Foothill the ANZA, which is where Martha Kampner and Hal Plotkin and people like that have had an association in the past and was quite instrumental in kind of the open education movement. Houston and Rowan are also on the go. Got about another 11 in the pipeline. Meeting up with policymakers, partly in Washington, because we were in Baltimore anyway. Northern Virginia Community College is not that far from Washington, so there's been a lot of work around the periphery of this collaboration so far. Once we start getting the really big survey data in, that will help sort of fill in the picture. But really, you could spend, as I'm sure other people in the project are finding, there's so much to look at in something like the community college sector, that you could spend 3 years and 8 people just on that. So trying to find the most relevant evidence to our hypotheses and pick that out is one of the sort of main challenges to me on this project.
We're open to kind of looking at new and different ways of working. And I think on Patrick's radar, he's been doing some work with FutureLearn and the idea of agile programming and how that can be applied to us as a research project is something that we're now looking at. And it's something that we had a go at last week. Idea with agile programming is that you have a time-boxed period with a very specific focus on producing outputs with the idea of releasing working software as early releases and including much more client-customer collaboration. Looking at applying that to us as a research project. We've got our Year 1 report coming up at the end of August, and there's a kind of bunch of work that we need to do in order to produce that. So that was our focus last week, specifically looking at our 11 hypotheses and the evidence that we've got to date to either support or refute that, and just trying to pull that together so that it's coherent and we've got more of an understanding when we're looking at planning the next year of the project.
The key findings that have come out from these particular hypotheses that we were looking at earlier on. So I'm just going to sort of flick those up, and you can see that sort of what we've got is some key things that are coming out that we can say from the work we've done, but we've also got challenges to do in terms of finding the ones.
To continue keeping in touch with us and seeing what we're up to at the Research Hub, feel free to follow us on Twitter, add us on Twitter, and plug into our website every now and then to see what we're up to.